I'm ready to make an exposure. It's going to be f32 at about a minute, Delta 100 ISO film. The interesting challenge will be to get back across this little stair ledge. Thanks to my buddy Peter, he's got me up in here, and there's no turning back at this point, so I'm ready to expose. From the alcove 90mm lens, Delta 49 and 50 was exposed from that alcove 90mm lens, f32 and a third at 2 minutes, meter red 3 minutes. I adjusted for Delta. Film, dropped it to 2 minutes, N-4 development. 10 o'clock Sunday.
Tell me how you're feeling right now that you got that exposure.
I'm feeling very relieved that it's over with. I don't like heights, but nevertheless, I know that that's an extraordinary angle to further document this incredible place in a manner that's probably never ever been done before from that angle. I don't know if the video actually shows where I was, but it's quite an angle. That staircase is something sent from heaven for a photographer. Well, I scurried along that ledge right there that follows the staircase. Right out here, it's very close to the top stairs, but as you get out farther out there to get into that alcove, it does become a little more, at least for me, a little bit more frightening. But nevertheless, as I say, once I was behind it and secure, I felt very, very comfortable back there. You know, I've been in situations out west where height impacted my fear level, but nevertheless, the photograph and the opportunity for the image won out, and it did here as well. Thanks to some good friends that helped pass up the equipment to me rather than me scurrying along the wall with a big tripod and a camera. All I had to do was set the camera up so that all the equipment, film holder and all came with the camera as it was passed up to me once I was on the safe side of the little alcove there. So I'm very excited about this particular image. We're going down the stairs now. It's a little darker as we descend down to the first floor, even down to the basement. But again, this huge skylight illuminates this whole building. As you can see that it's very light colored concrete block, some kind of machined sandstone. It's just a beautiful building. The tonalities, as they say, to the human eye and brain are very, very light in color. When you throw in that big illumination of the skylight, it just further gives a heightened ambiance to the whole building. But nevertheless, when you get down into little pockets like you see down in here, your eye quickly makes adjustments for that, and it processes one big image, and you come away with this incredible feeling of this tremendous building. But the film, unfortunately, can't process information like you and I can with our eye and our brain. The film sees one tonality, it sees one amount of reflection, and that's the way it processes. So in my process, I have the ability to greatly compress contrast, and conversely, I can greatly expand contrast. You know, I like to think there's some certain things that Photoshop can do that I can't do, but at the same time, there's some things that I can do with film that Photoshop and a digital photographer couldn't even dream of. A digital photographer could never compress the amount of contrast that's in this building. Now, you might think that the word or the phrase, the acronym HDR, would compress what you see here. I've been told by real experts that whole HDR is a logarithmic function where, in principle, it's doing exactly what I'm doing with film. In other words, I'm giving a tremendous amount of exposure on the bottom end, and I'm giving a tremendous amount of compression in film development. Well, that's essentially what HDR does. It combines 3 or 5 different images in one, but it's done in a logarithmic way. whereas my process is done all organically on one piece of film. And I think even to the advanced amateur, what I am able to accomplish with film and chemistry in my process is quite extraordinary.
We'll look forward to learning more about your process, Dave. What's it called?
Power process workshops. They're one-on-one private workshops, or we could do, you could bring a friend, 2 people maximum. Power process workshops in Rocky Hill, Connecticut.